Well, regular EV Dad here. Good evening. How are you? Hope you're well. Yes, my hair's a bit crazy. This is it's a busy time of year for me right now in my work life. And whilst I'm not wearing a shirt, I don't tend to do that very often unless I'm recording something. It's a week of 20-hour days. Anyway, that's not what you care about. What you care about is your midweek video. And here it is. So, hopefully by now you've watched episode 2, I'll put it there, of the road trip from Salt Lake City to Lexington, Nebraska. That was a long day. Now, I already removed 40 minutes of the video, which was the incident at Green River, Utah, where 50% of our battery disappeared. By the way, my Volkswagen's leadership team got involved, and someone is going to be from Volkswagen is going to be looking at the car on the 12th of June. But more interestingly, I've been going in through the data that I was recording from the car's BMS system, and actually the fault developed 20 minutes earlier in the day while we were charging, so there'll be an update on that to come. Now, what I want to focus on today is something which kind of just had to put, because there was so much content, this would have been a 2.5-hour video otherwise, was the part of the trip from Fort Morgan to Ogallala. I thought it was Fort Morgan. I'm sure it was. Last stop on the way into Nebraska, about 160 odd miles. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is because the video is getting long, and so I decided to just put the time lapse, keep that running, and then just put the piece to camera as we're going. And I really took away what was actually going on, and I want you to know how this all started, because there's some valuable lessons to be learned here. So we relied heavily on a better route planner. I'm a premium member for that app, and I absolutely love it for planning and also executing these long drives. I also have the app EV Notify, which provides real-time information from the BMS, both input and consumption, to a better route planner. All that combined with the wind conditions and the distance to be traveled and the change in elevation, a better route planner will advise you on how much charge you need. It will also see the charge and the data it has for what is a predicted charge curve versus what you actually get, and all that information goes back and is useful. However, it isn't perfect. Now, we were running lean, that is minimal amount of charging, maximum amount of driving. And so in my settings, I said I was fine with coming into a charger at 3% state of charge. I had my battery degradation set to 0, as the car had less than 10,000 miles on it at this point. And apart from road trips, I don't do a huge amount of DC fast charging. My speed I set at the speed limit plus 10% up to a maximum of 85, and that's important because here in this part of Nebraska, speed limit is 80. We would limit ourselves to 85, and also in Colorado in that part. And in fact, as we came straight out of that charger, we were doing 85. I can see in Google Maps history that that's what we were doing. The issue was the wind changed direction. We had a tailwind. We came in with 12%, and we actually were watching it as we were coming through Colorado. We just weren't burning energy. The efficiency was fantastic, but that's because of that tailwind. Well, pretty much as soon as we came out of what I call Fort Morgan, I'm sure it was, it became a crosswind, and actually then a cross and headwind. Now you have to bear in mind at 2.7 miles per kilowatt and only 3% buffer, I'm only holding 10 miles over 160 in reserve. So very quickly into this journey, about 20 miles out, which I can't show on the time lapse, we got into negative territory. Not only that, but it kept dropping. We dropped our speeds to 80, then to 70, and this was an issue. And so what I hope we conveyed, and with knowing that, and I've re-edited this video so you can see in more detail what we were actually doing. What I hope you'll see is, and this is the tip, when you need to, draft. So we were drafting semis at 70 miles an hour. the software couldn't handle it. The consumption levels versus the speed versus predicted conditions, changing elevations, none of this made sense whatsoever to a better route planner. It actually said at one point dropped to 40 miles an hour, I think. And we just kept going because I could see that and track just mentally what our rate of discharge was in percentage terms. And the elation is real, and we said, "Oh my God, we're stuck behind these trucks at 55 miles an hour," and then we had 10 trucks. It was like, that was real. That was real. We did turn the air conditioning off for the last, I think it was the last 10 miles. The temperature had dropped from the 80 odd that it had been during the day. It was into the 70s at that point anyway. But yeah, we came in at 3%, and actually that's mainly just because of the last 10 miles where we were stuck in traffic. But if you'd have asked me 70 miles ago, 100 miles ago, if that was going to be the situation, I wouldn't have given you the same answer. So with that in mind, please enjoy the re-edited video where you can I'll drop the piece to camera, what I call face cam, in at the right moments in the time lapse, and hopefully that will make a little bit more sense, and you might enjoy this video just as much, maybe a little less, than we did the trip. If you haven't, please consider subscribing. It grows the channel. Please hit like. That means that YouTube will put it in front of more people who will find out the benefits of driving a non-Tesla EV across the country and how they really do work for a family lifestyle. And if you've got any questions, please put them in the comments. Only too happy to answer. Be safe, and I'll hand you over to the guy in the red shirt. He's starting to look a little bit tired. I think it's been a long day. Be safe. Well, hi, welcome to Fort Morgan, and we're actually getting ready to pull out. It was, we came in with 12. We had phenomenal tailwinds. The wind flipped on us while we were on our way in. Despite that, we had really good battery pack temperatures. Now this is Celsius, you'll have to do your own conversion. But 44, now it's in the red, but wow, we were charging in excess of 100 kilowatts through 50%. It'll be interesting again to pull the data from EV Notify at some point in the future. Even now at 68, we're about to pull the plug, and we are still pulling 68 kilowatts, which is phenomenal. It's been a good charging session. The dogs have eaten their dinner. We've watered ourselves. Literally in the time it just took us, me to go to the bathroom, Nancy to get the dogs out, put the food out for the dogs, pee the dogs, me to hold the dogs, her to go in, come back, we're done. This is worth noting. So EV Notify said, a better route planner said that we would need 36 minutes of charging to make our next stop in, I think it was Ogallala, yeah, Ogallala, missing North Platte. And here's the, no, not missing North Platte's afterwards, we're getting to Lexington. We actually reached the charging required 10 minutes ahead of time. So, and that's it. That is it. A better route plan, by the way, telling me that we are now charged. We're at 68. It's looked at the wind conditions, it's looked at our speeds, and we're good to go. So, we're gonna go. last 20 miles or so to only do 40 miles an hour. But we have been drafting this truck, and I'd just like to say thank you to Werners for not sponsoring us, but being very consistent in your driving style. Yeah, travel assist has just literally got us locked in behind this. There is a lot of wind and a lot of movement. But bear in mind, if I'm not driving this, I'm driving a Class A RV, so I understand exactly what he's going through right now with these head and crosswinds. We are going to have to back off shortly. We've got a straight glide in. We've got one little hillock. We're just on the last kind of tiny uphill section now, kind of a wave. And then we just have 150 feet of just drop. Basically flat, but still consistently downhill. Like I said, a better route plan doesn't know what to say. It's saying, don't go this fast, you're burning this energy you don't have, don't do more than 40. But it still has us getting in at 3%, which is all we want. So we'll keep an eye. Yeah, it's evening up right now. We're back to 33 to go and 31 on the gone. I don't want to find out how much is the reserve. That is my thing. I will back off. I'm going to say it now. I will back off at 10 miles if I have to, and drop to 40 for the last 10 if I have to. But onwards into the draft. For the first time in my life, I am loving a contraflow. Now I appreciate that not everyone understands. So contraflow is when you've got two lane highways and everything goes to one lane in each direction on one side. You hate this normally because it's slow, it's single track, you can't overtake, you can't stop. This is awesome. Our guy is following another truck. Sadly, he's accelerating a little bit, but visually it's now 65. He's just pulling away. 25, 26, we're in a mile of this. It's not in this, and we've got just in another side. We've got contraflow for 6 miles. Now, if we could just run into the back of someone who's doing the actual speed limit, that would be awesome. But 25, 25, we have parity. That's what we need. That's what we need. This is lunacy. Delightful lunacy. All right, forward. Great news. We're stuck behind 5 trucks. It doesn't get any better than this.
And how many hours have you been on the road?
Can I just say, I'm so happy to be stuck behind 5 trucks doing 60 miles an hour. This is awesome. And a better route planner has actually, and I'll just screenshot it. This plan is no longer viable. Current stat is we got 23 on the GOM. We've just hit 10%. The thing is, the sat nav has just told us we need to find charging. We are going to now, what's the temperature outside? 76. We are going to cut the AC at this point just because we need to. We're just going to conserve the extra half a kilowatt for parking. It is 76 outside. I don't want to open a window, but we need to conserve. But we're at 23 on the GOM and 21. This is and we're slowing just a little bit. This is your regular EV dad. Not that regular sometimes. All right, let you know what happens. It's a little bit soon for a victory lap. However, the better route planner has now given up. Well, he gave up already, and now he's saying, well, I don't know how you're doing this, but you're going to get in with 2% of battery. You cannot compute the wind and our consumption and our speed and the vehicle characteristics. So I'm sure I'll pay a price for this at some point in the future. But great news, we've now got 10 trucks in front of us. And we've just got into another contraflow. We're doing 52 miles an hour. We've got 6% dead, 6% exactly state of charge being reported by both EV Notify and by the sub 10% panel on the hood. And we have 10 miles to go and 10 miles to physically go, 12 minutes, and 18 miles of range. I would like to thank Herner's and the truck we're behind now, which is OD, who are a principal sponsor of transportations for Major League Baseball. Whilst I've never liked baseball, I have enjoyed tremendously watching this track of this truck for the last 15 minutes. It's been awesome. And yeah, I'd like to thank Diesel. It's helped us immensely by ploughing the way for us aerodynamically. So we have a new challenge for tomorrow. This will be interesting. We'll get into the charger and let you know how they can go. Bye. Well, we're coming in at 3%, and this might not make sense in the time lapse. We drafted those two trucks for 60 miles at the minimum distance that the system permits, that travel assist permits. I'm just doing a big wide turn so I can come in sideways on there's absolutely nobody in the gas station. And we're just going to take the last, I think there's a 3, we're going to take the, doesn't make any difference to us if we take a 350 or 150, but you know what, I like the look of this one. So we got in with 8 miles of range, 3%, and some key software requirement updates for ABRP. I may do this into a separate video just because this just needs to be shared on its own, and it doesn't. It needs to be outside of the bigger 1 hour, 2 hour video. But sorry, Kyle from Outer Spec. We learned something today. All right, we're gonna charge and get out of here.